Hi, Mel here, and in today's video, I'll be sharing my recent experience flying with Oman Air. I had a 6-hour flight from Muscat to Bangkok, and it was my first time flying with them. While Oman Air is not as well known as the more prominent Middle Eastern carriers, their reputation has been growing, and I was super excited to get the chance to try them out for myself. So what did I think? Is Oman Air as good as I had expected? I hope you'll come along with me today to find out. Also, if you enjoy this type of content, I hope you'll hit the like button and subscribe. And with that out of the way, let's get started. I recently spent some time in the country of Oman, which has been referred to as the jewel of the Middle East. And I have to admit, the country really won me over. The Omani people are incredibly warm and welcoming, and the architecture speaks to the country's history and tradition. Moreover, the geography of the country is incredible, from vast stretches of desert to the Gulf of Oman to rugged mountain ranges. Oman really has it all. I was sad when my day of departure arrived, but I was excited to know I would be flying with Oman Air. I headed to the airport early in the morning to catch my flight. Once inside the airport, the signs for first and business class check-in are easy to spot and follow. Oman Air actually has a private area for first class and business check-in. Once you enter, you're given a seat while you wait for an agent to check you in. But if you already have your boarding pass and you don't have a bag to check, feel free to head straight through. After security, I headed straight to the Oman Air Lounge on level 5. The Oman Air Lounge welcomes both business class and first class passengers. Some people might find the decor to be too ornate, but I think it's lovely and very in tune with the traditional style of the country. I arrived at the lounge around 7 a.m. and was quite surprised to find the lounge so empty. In addition to the lounging areas of the lounge and the dining areas of the lounge, other options include a small business center, a quiet area with loungers separated by curtains, men's and women's restrooms, a hallway of shower rooms, and a full-service bar. Due to Ramadan, the bar wasn't serving alcohol, but they did offer coffee drinks and a few different food items. Given the early hour, I was actually happy enough to just be able to get a cappuccino. And it was really good. As a huge fan of breakfast, I decided to take my cappuccino over to the dining area so I could order breakfast before my flight. The lounge offers a few buffet options, but honestly, it's not very impressive. Luckily, there's also a small menu with a la carte options. And as someone who is not a fan of buffets, I took a seat and ordered the halloumi cheese omelet. It was not exactly what I expected, but nevertheless it was pretty decent. I went back to the bar for one last cappuccino, and then it was time to head out to catch my flight. My digital boarding pass indicated I would be departing from gate A11, so I took the elevator down one level and headed off to find concourse A. The boarding area was very full, and I only had a few minutes to catch a glimpse of the plane that would be taking us to Bangkok. And then it was time to head aboard. My flight to Bangkok would be aboard one of Oman Air's 787-8s. The aircraft is equipped with an economy cabin of 249 Collins Aerospace Pinnacle seats with 4-way adjustable headrests and pedal-style footrests. The business class cabin features 18 Collins Aerospace Apex suites configured 2x2x2. But unlike most 2x2x2 configurations, these seats all have direct aisle access and feature a privacy screen between adjacent seats that can be raised and lowered. Each seat is 22 inches wide and converts to a 77.5-inch flatbed, which is shockingly long. My seat for the flight would be window seat 11A. If you're flying solo, I think the window seats are your best option as they offer both great views and the most privacy. But if you're flying with someone, the middle seats might be a better choice. While the seats on either side of the plane are staggered to better allow for direct aisle access, the middle row seats are aligned so you can lower the privacy barrier and enjoy the flight together. I headed to row 11. Waiting for me at my seat were a wet towel, a blanket, a pillow, and a mattress pad. I was immediately impressed with the amount of space the Apex suite provides. Plus, it feels so private to be tucked away next to the windows and away from the aisle. I also loved having 3 windows to myself. I took a seat and was again struck by the immense legroom that this seat provides. The 17-inch HD touchscreen display is so far away that it actually looks rather small. I was also impressed that I could fit my backpack under the foot ledge. It's a larger space than I'm used to in business class suites. Other than that spot though, storage space is minimal. There are these 2 cubbies on the right, the literature pocket, and another small cubby right under the IFE remote. Inside the space you'll find the headphone jack and USB outlets, and further down a universal power outlet. The tray table is also located on this side of the seat. It's one solid surface that can be easily adjusted and even rotated to the side if you need to leave your seat during meal service. There are buttons on the right to control the lights and also a button to raise or lower the privacy screen between seats. Right behind the privacy screen is a reading light and a hook to store the headphones. On the left side of the seat are the seat controls with both presets as well as buttons to make fine adjustments to different parts of the seat. There is also a button you can press for a massage. While I was exploring the seat area, the flight attendant offered me a pre-departure drink. I opted for the mint lemon drink, which was very good. While I loved almost all aspects of my suite, including the immense amount of space and the 3 windows, there are 2 negatives I need to mention. First, the windows have those annoying electric blinds that the cabin crew can universally control if they choose to. And second, there are no individual air vents. But luckily, the cabin was kept fairly cool throughout the flight, and for the most part, I was able to let in light when I wanted to. So all's well that ends well. I was still enjoying my pre-departure drink as we pulled away from the gate and prepared for takeoff. Since everyone was seated now, I was able to get a feel for how full the cabin was. There was no one in the seat next to me, and in fact, the cabin was only about 25% full. Shortly after taxiing out to the runway, we were taking off. Once the seatbelt sign was turned off, I decided to go check out the bathroom. As has become more and more common, the bathroom has a hands-free automatic sink, as well as a pedal that opens the garbage for you so you can avoid touching the lid. I love both of these things. To the left of the sink are fragrances and hand creams from the Oman-based company AMEX, which smelled great. There's also a container offering complimentary shaving kits and dental kits. The toilet has a bidet, and I was impressed that the flight attendants made an effort to keep things looking so tidy. Finally, there's a baby changing table you can fold down if needed. When I got back to my seat, I took a look at the menu. As this was only a 6-hour flight, the menu was fairly simple. One page of food options with a la carte dishes on the left, a set menu in the middle, and cheese and dessert options on the right. Also near the bottom of the page are light snack options that can be ordered anytime during the flight. The Refresh and Revitalize page outlines the non-alcoholic drink selections, while the Cellar page outlines the alcoholic selections. On offer were champagne, a couple of white wines, a couple of red wines, as well as cocktails, liqueurs, fortified wines, spirits, and beers. I placed my order, and while the meal service was being prepared, the flight attendant brought me a glass of champagne and some mixed nuts. After enjoying both, I decided to check out the amenity kit. The items came in an AMEX zippered pouch. Inside, I was not surprised to find the basics: socks, an eye mask, and earplugs. There was also AMEX lip balm, hand sanitizer, AMEX moisturizer, and a single serving of mouthwash. No dental kit, since those are available in the bathroom. Finally, there was an insert with AMEX information. Since the amenity kit didn't take too long to explore, I still had time before dinner to check out the Inflight Entertainment. There is a 17-inch HD touchscreen display, which, as I mentioned before, looks smaller since it's so far away. The display is bright and clear though, and it is a touchscreen, although I would imagine that at this distance most people will just use the remote. The remote itself is pretty standard. Navigating the menu can be a bit glitchy, but it works with a bit of patience. The entertainment selection is okay, not overly extensive, but you should be able to find something to watch. For me, I'm always happy to resort to Friends if I don't find anything more interesting. I plugged the noise-canceling headphones into the jack. They weren't fancy, but they were comfortable and had decent audio, which is really all you can ask for. With my show queued up and my headphones on, I raised the partition, swapped out my shoes for the amenity kit socks, elevated my feet, and started to enjoy the show. By the way, if you prefer using the internet to watching a movie or show, you might be disappointed to learn that Oman Air charges $29 for just 3 hours of full access with a 40 megabyte data cap. About halfway through my first episode of Friends, the flight attendant came by to set up my tray table for meal service. The meal started with 2 amuse-bouche selections, as well as pita bread and red lentil soup. I thought the pita bread was rather dry, but I loved the soup. I was then served mini mishkas, which included mini skewers of spiced lamb, chicken, and prawns. All 3 were really delicious. For my main course, I selected the 6-hour roasted lamb shoulder. It was served with Kabuli rice and tamarind sauce. This was my favorite dish so far. The meat was very tender and flavorful, and the rice was very good as well. This may sound strange, but I think raisins are the perfect addition to any rice dish. Clearly, I really liked this meal. You might think I'd be too full for dessert, but a sweet tooth like me never skips the opportunity to end the meal with something sweet. I ordered the warm date pudding, which was topped with butterscotch and praline, as well as a glass of ruby port. And I can confirm that the date pudding was every bit as good as it looks. And the port was surprisingly good too. All in all, a fantastic meal in my opinion. Because the flight was only 6 hours, the crew didn't proactively pass out pajamas, but they were readily available if you asked. As a side note, the service on my flight so far had been fantastic. The flight attendants really could not have been any nicer. I ducked into the bathroom to change into the pajamas and brush my teeth. And by the time I got back to my seat, the flight attendant was making up my bed. When I climbed in, the most surprising thing was how much legroom there was. Many business class seats require you to stick your feet into a cubby space, but the room at the foot of this seat was seriously generous. I could have been a foot taller and still had enough room. I slept very soundly, and when I woke up, I was surprised to discover that we'd be landing in less than an hour. I lowered my privacy partition and watched a few last minutes of Friends before heading to the bathroom to get dressed. As we started our approach into Bangkok, I had a chance to think over my experience in Oman Air's business class. So what did I think? I'm sure you can probably guess by now that I loved it. The flight attendants were so friendly and happy to help in any way that they could. The food and drinks on my flight were top-notch, and I really appreciate that Oman Air puts so much effort into the presentation. And I absolutely love the hard product. My business class suite felt super private, and I had so much space. Moreover, the seat itself is very comfortable both in the seat mode and in the bed mode. And all of this is even more impressive when you consider that the flight was only 6 hours. I was very impressed that despite the relatively short duration of the flight, mattress pads were provided automatically and pajamas were available upon request. All in all, I would love to fly with Oman Air again, and given how much I love Oman, it's quite likely I'll have a chance to in the not too distant future. This is a good time to mention that, as always, my travel experiences are not paid for, sponsored, or discounted in any way, and nobody was informed that I was doing this review. How much did I pay for this flight? I booked the flight through Air France because Oman Air and Flying Blue have a loyalty collaboration that allows you to redeem Flying Blue miles for Oman Air reward flights. I paid a total of 43,000 miles plus $323 in taxes and fees. But the actual amount was less than this because the 43,000 miles I used were left over in my account from a 150% transfer bonus that Bilt offered Platinum members in January of 2024. Taking that into account, I paid 17,200 Bilt points plus $323 in taxes and fees. A fantastic deal. Thanks for coming along today. Comment below if you have any questions. And if you've flown with Oman Air yourself, what did you think? Did you love the experience as much as I did? If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's a great way to help the channel and enables me to make more videos like this one. Until next time, happy travels.